Are you looking for a better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work up to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with the family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's
time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David is in Las Vegas, so we have John Spann, an avid shotgunner, sitting in the co-host chair. The second annual Women's March was yesterday, and of course, President Trump had something to say about it. Seriously, Big Brother is watching you. The lefties on the left coast offered a fact-check service. What could possibly go wrong? True Trump voters continue to frustrate the liberal media, and Secretary of the Interior, Ryan Zinke, was the engineer on the Trump train Saturday. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
So David is in Las Vegas. The SHOT Show starts tomorrow. So he is going to be coming back and rubbing our faces in the fact that he got to go to SHOT Show and we didn't. And we're going to be jealous of all the cool people he got to talk to and all of the cool stuff he got to do. Last year I remember he was like interviewing all these cool people for he's actually working. He actually has a job over there. So so he got to interview all these cool people. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous.
Working, yeah. Working in Vegas.
Heavy air quotes.
Exactly. The biggest gun show in the world.
So anyway, that's why he's not here tonight. We have our friend John. John took concealed carry from Safer USA. That's how I first met you.
Right.
And we've run into each other at Aurora Sportsman's Club and other friends of NRA.
Friends of the NRA, right.
So that's why John is a friend of the show, and we invited him to sit in the co-host chair tonight. I thought about just doing it with Eric, but I was like, well, Eric can't sit there, and I can't talk to him if he's over there, so we would have to move the camera.
That's a good point.
It would be, I just thought it would be weird.
It would be.
So
it's okay.
Well, this is great. I appreciate the chance to be here.
Sort of plan B, I guess.
Always good to have a plan B.
So the big Women's March, the second annual Women's March, was yesterday, and my heart was warmed by the fact that they really didn't get a lot of news coverage.
Surprisingly, actually.
Yeah.
Something like that would generate a lot of buzz.
Well, I mean, last year I think it surprised people last year because it was the first time. And I think that it was a big surprise of the turnout that they got. But yeah, precious little news coverage this year. I did see just a little blurb about it on the news today, or no, I guess it was last night. It was last night. They said they thought the Women's March in Chicago was bigger this year, but they planned it better. Like they had so many people last year they couldn't actually march. I mean, like, and I actually got caught up in it by accident. I was down in Chicago for another reason, and it was a very nice day, and we tried to walk to Trump Tower, and ironically, and you literally couldn't walk. I mean, it was wall-to-wall people. It was like curb to curb. You couldn't walk anywhere, and but I guess they planned it better this year, and they were actually able to do an actual march. Last year was just standing.
Maybe the reason there wasn't a whole lot of news coverage on is because the whole news media is shut down this weekend. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the government.
The government,
that's shut down.
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But of course, President Trump had something to say about the Women's March. He said, he tweeted, "Beautiful weather all over our great country, a perfect day for all women to march. Get out there now to celebrate the historic milestones and unprecedented economic success and wealth creation that has taken place over the last 12 months. Lowest female unemployment in 18 years.
It's beautiful. Just a little bit of a jab there.
But, you know, for him, that's subtle.
Oh, right.
I mean, that's very subtle for him.
And isn't that amazing? He's merely speaking the truth there.
Right. I wonder if he let, like, Sarah Huckabee Sanders or Kellyanne Conway write that for him, because that was maybe a little subtle for him.
or somebody cleaned it up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But he said it, so.
Well, yeah, it came from
him.
his account.
Right.
So.
Right.
So yeah, you had asked before the show, like, what do they want exactly?
Well, right. Obviously they
unclear.
want us right. Do they want the right to vote and to drive? What are the precedents they're trying to set? I don't know. It's common knowledge, I would hope, that men do love women, and we appreciate all the women out there. So what platforms are they trying to further?
Yeah, I'm not exactly 100% sure. The one in Washington last year, I didn't see this in Chicago last year, but the one in Washington, there were women actually wearing vagina costumes. So maybe the right to wear a vagina costume.
Nice. Okay. Well, free speech at its best.
The right to wear your genitals on the outside. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, y'all get to do that every day, so
Sure.
It's something different for us. But yeah, it's a little unclear, and I think that I think this year the protests and the things that have been going on with the women speaking out about sexual harassment, that actually would be a legit reason. You know, that would actually be like a legit thing of we're fighting for this.
Absolutely.
You know, we're fighting to be treated better, you know.
And should certainly be brought to the forefront, considering everything that's gone on with Hollywood and with corporate America. The shocking thing is that apparently this has been going on blatantly for 20 years, 30 years, who knows how long.
Right.
And now it comes out in droves like this. What could be more reprehensible than the behavior these people have exhibited for the men who did it, for everyone who knew about it and turned a blind eye to it?
Yeah.
Terrible.
So, you know, that would be actually a good reason to have a march, but it didn't really seem like it seemed like maybe that was not really the focus. The Chicago organizers, I think, were saying, you know, they wanted to use it as motivation for more women to run for office and that sort of thing. But I mean, women in political office actually is, you know, almost 50%. It's
Sure.
I think it's like 40%,
Sure.
depending on what level of government you look at. But it's quite a bit, actually.
Bring out more conservative women, and we'll vote for
Well,
them.
and it's funny that you say that, because I mean, I'm on the Will County Board, and I think we actually have more Republican women on the Will County Board than the Democrats have
Nice.
women.
Well, that's a
So-
progressive move right there.
Say what you want about Republicans, but yeah, we've definitely got some ladies
Excellent.
getting it done. So the other thing that some of these snowflakes are into is socialism. They think we should have full-on socialism, get rid of capitalism. But if you look at Venezuela, I knew things were bad in Venezuela, but apparently right now they're suffering hyperinflation, and their money is almost worthless. And this is very interesting that a reporter from the Washington Post has a friend who lives in Venezuela, and he sent a photograph of a trash can, and there's actually money in the trash can. They're 20 Bolivar bills, which is a small denomination currency now so worthless that even looters didn't think it was worth their time to stop and pick them up. That 120 Bolivar bills would be equal to a penny.
That's really bad.
Yes. But it's interesting that the guy who lives in Venezuela, his name is Toro. He says hyperinflation is disorienting. 5 or 6 years ago, 500 bolivars on the floor would have bought you a meal for two with wine at the best restaurant in Caracas. But as late as early last year, they would have only bought you a cup of coffee. And now it buys you essentially nothing.
Unbelievable. And unfortunately, people complain in the States they're not getting their fair share, and they're not able to stream their Hulu accurately, and their Netflix is down, or they got overcharged on their cell bill, and these people have nothing.
Yeah.
They don't even have currency to buy food and
right. It says
water.
that as soon as they get paid, they have to go out and buy something, because whatever you buy, whether it's food or consumer goods or whatever, it's worth more than the actual money.
Absolutely, it's tangible,
right?
Something
that
they
it's,
can hold.
It's the only thing, right? It's the only thing that you can actually hold on to that holds any value. So, but it's interesting because Bernie Sanders said, to me, socialism doesn't mean state ownership of everything. It means creating a nation in which all human beings have a decent standard of living. It's like, yeah, you clearly don't know anything about actual socialism, because you would know that, there's no standard of living there either.
It doesn't work. Socialism, communism, dictatorships do not work.
No.
They destroy the country. They destroy the heart of the country, the will of the people, the livelihood of the people.
Yes.
When the government takes over, they've got it all.
Well, right. I mean, if you don't have, your work and value for your work, what good is it? It takes away your reason for living. Okay, so we talked about snowflakes. The next segment, we're going to be talking about the government is spying on you now in new ways.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com, or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So we've talked before on the show about how, of course, your Google device, your Amazon device, Alexa, of course, is spying on you. And the TV, the smart TV, is spying on you. And the kitchen appliances are spying on you.
Definitely.
Now come to find out your car is also spying on you. And has been for quite some time.
Who'd have thunk it?
Which, you know, I don't have an internet. I don't have internet in my car, so praise the Lord for that. But it just, and of course I knew the ones like the tracking people with their iPass for divorce cases and
Sure.
and the OnStar. Of course I knew about all that, but it's actually a little bit more involved than that now. So of course the government, police agencies have subpoenaed information from like OnStar and things like that to track, like, you know, drug dealers and kidnappers and things like that. But now 90% of new vehicles have electronic sensors called event data recorders in them. And under the guise of sifting information from drivers to better improve vehicle and road safety, they're pulling reams of personal data from motorists. The other thing, too, of course, I knew, like the progressive, you know, thing that you plug in, of course, you're basically consenting to them spying on you.
Absolutely. It's reading straight back to the FBI.
Right. That I, you know, that of course I knew about, but your car having like essentially a black box, this was a little bit of news to me. And
I don't think it's above the realm of for people to understand that they are being surveilled. There are cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
In public places, and unfortunately many times I believe in private places, and basically you have to operate under the guise that I'm being watched, which is terrible. But to think that you're giving up your privacy in your own car, mm-hmm. And we talked about they can do it. They can do it.
Yeah, it's super disturbing to me, you know, that. And the other thing that's very disturbing to me, not only that they're spying on me, potentially collecting data about me, but that I agree with the American Civil Liberties Union.
Right.
Whenever this happens, I get really nervous.
It's kind of a black eye, yeah.
It makes me nervous, but Jay Stanley is a senior policy analyst with the ACLU, and he wrote in an op-ed that we need to clearly establish the principle that the data on these black box computers belongs to the person who owns the car. The data on your EDR should belong to you and be no more accessible to the police or anyone else without a warrant or your consent than the data on the laptop sitting on the seat next to you. I can't disagree with him.
Not at all along the lines of it as we had spoke earlier. After the fact, if they need to come and get something to prove you criminally responsible for a crime,
right? If they're building a case,
get a warrant, and come and get the information. That's one thing. But to just have carte blanche to record information of a person in their private settings, mm-hmm. and do it under the guise of, oh, we're here to help you. We need to do this. You're better off for it.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
We're here to help. Right.
Yeah, this article, this is from a website, I think it was called Clark.com, and it says, while the data transmissions are all framed in the context of vehicle and road safety, it's clear that auto companies are getting way more information than whether or not you press the accelerator just before a crash. And I think what I heard on the news and why this was brought to my attention is that I'm not entirely sure that they're not doing the same thing that the smart TVs are doing, that they're listening to your conversations that you have in the car, which now we all have lots of conversations in the car on our cell phones. And, you know, I talk to myself. I sing probably badly most of the time because no one's listening. And they're using that for marketing. They're using that for product development.
Without our prior
Right, without your
consent.
knowledge or consent.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing that disturbs me about this is, there's, in my life, my own personal life, I already have like the newfangled spying on me, like Facebook can turn on Messenger without my knowing it, and somebody can turn on your webcam remotely, and I also have the old-fashioned one. I've got like peeping toms also, so I'm like I can't go anywhere.
Well, as we said, technology is wonderful until it screws up and gets in the way, or becomes prohibiting your right to safety, your right to privacy. I heard on the news that they were saying that now with the new security systems, the wireless security systems that will broadcast to your smartphone if someone's breaking into your house.
Oh,
that's wonderful. Except that they were saying that people are finding a way to hack into that and defeat it,
right?
So you don't know that they're breaking into your house.
The Amazon delivery, where you can let the Amazon delivery person into your house and you can watch them, but then, like you're saying, they can hack into it and they can block that feed.
If somebody can build a firewall, somebody else can get by it.
Right. It seems like it.
Right.
It seems like it.
Right. And even the Amazon drivers knowing what's there, I'm not saying that they're bad, but they were talking about people following the Amazon driver and seeing what your frequency is of Amazon deliveries.
Oh my gosh.
And making a pattern, knowing this person gets Amazon all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Walk up to the door, casually either steal it or casually glance at it and see where it's from, and add that to the profile, build a large profile, and realize this person's getting a lot of things from Apt Electronics.
Oh, okay.
Wow, they must have a lot of nice stuff in that house.
This might be a good house to rob.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they want to get really serious about it, develop a profile of they're getting deliveries 3 times a week. Those packages sit on the stoop all day long.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, those packages are taken in at noontime. Well, we think somebody's home on Wednesday at noon, but not on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, it's true. I mean...
And that's hard surveillance. That's not even what we're talking about.
Right, exactly. That's just good old-fashioned criminals.
Criminals doing their jobs.
Well, I mean, it is.
Right.
If that's your job, that's how you do it.
Right. But it's not unreasonable to think that with all the electronic devices that we're under surveillance, it's horrible to think that way, but it can be done, and apparently is.
Yeah, it's I find it disturbing.
Extremely.
I mean, I'm a child of the 70s, so I'm old enough to remember vinyl LPs and phones with dials and
on them.
All sorts of the things that pop up on Facebook and do you know what this is, and of course most of them I do. I'm old enough to remember that, but so this is, even for someone like me, this is a brave new world. I mean, this is crazy.
It's so complex. They say, oh, it's easy to set up your account. Just write down a password, enter a password, write it down, then you're all set. You're all good to go. I'm like, where's that piece of paper with the passwords on it? And I go to check into this website or that website. It's like, enter password. I'm like, now what password did I give you? What gun manufacturer and what caliber did I use for that one? If you know me, you can pretty much know my passwords by
right.
I should.
Uh-oh, you just told all of our watchers.
Yes, they can hack into my accounts and get nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say, not exactly sure what they would get. It's like, if you want to pay my credit card bill, that's fine.
Please, by all means, here's my password. Right. Now, my dad said 40 years ago, when I don't want to say 40, but when iPass first came out, he said he'd never get one of those because they can know instantly where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew he was right, but it's like, when you're a 20-year-old kid, you're like, oh, Dad, come on. How bad's it going to be? Well, now I, live and breathe by my iPass. If I have to stop for a toll, it's outrageous.
Right.
Buzz through everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I was at some conference for something, and you're in the you're in the hall with all the vendors, you know, and they're like, "Oh, come over here and sign up to win an Amazon Echo." I'm like, I wouldn't have one of those things in my house. But I mean, obviously, I'm pushing away what I can easily push away. I mean, obviously, I still have a cell phone, I still have a car, you know, all these things that are spying on me.
Are spying, and yet we have to have them. I think we couldn't get by without the internet.
Well, we don't know how to. It's not that we couldn't. We don't know how anymore.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's made life so easy that we don't know how.
We were at the RV show in Schaumburg today, and we walked in with some friends, and his young son ran over to the first booth that was there and grabbed one of the entry forms to win something and started to write on it. And I said to him, "Don't put your address on that, because all that's going to happen is you're not going to win anything, and your parents are going to get all kinds of junk in the mail. Don't write your address on that." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, this law professor, University of Dayton, Ohio law professor Susan Brenner, she's actually writes a blog about these type of issues, and she says, "My sense is that people take the technology so completely for granted that they forget that it has the capacity to bite back. Most people are still quite naive about embedded technologies and therefore tend to forget that it can compromise privacy." And you guys were talking about that before, and I've seen that on the Dateline or something as well, that with a very small amount of information, you know, police officer was able to figure out what school a girl went to, and she had some after school sport, and he showed up and he went up to her parents and he said, "Listen, you know, I'm law enforcement, so I have good intentions for figuring out where you guys are, but your daughter gave me all this information that I was able to come here and find you." And you know, it's people, I think, especially young people, very naive about how negative this can all be.
100%. And anything you do, or you make a purchase, an innocuous purchase, you're like, "Well, could you give us your email address?" And you know, you're in the midst of the purchase, you're excited, you're like, "Oh, sure, here's my email address." And then you start getting stuff, it's like, why am I getting all this stuff all of a sudden? Really? I made that one purchase. I gave out an email address.
Oh, you didn't even have to make a purchase.
No.
I talk about it all the time, especially if you're Facebook friends with me. You look at something on a website, and next thing you know, you're getting ads on Facebook.
Immediate.
I'm like, I'm getting stalked on I'm getting internet stalked on Facebook by this company.
And there's Amazon, and love Amazon. My wife and I buy a lot of stuff through Amazon. But if you research something on Amazon, all of a sudden, well, you might also like this. You might also, and it's like, well, that's cool, but how did it know to do that?
Now, to me, I find that incredibly annoying because I buy stuff for other people, and then they're trying to sell me stuff related to the stuff I bought for other people. I'm like, that wasn't even for me.
Well, the problem with us is that it usually works. It's like, yeah, that dovetails nicely.
Oh, no,
with
see,
this
for me,
other
it never works for me.
Okay. It's kind of a two-edged sword.
So Larry wrote in, he said, "Rule number 1, never put the box from your new TV out for the garbage man.
Oh, definitely.
Take the box down the street and put it by your neighbor's garage."
That is the honest to goodness truth.
So when we come back, we're going to be talking about Google's fact check service and its untimely demise.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech, on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
So, there's probably a few people, obviously, at Google who thought that starting a fact-check service would be a good idea, but most of us conservatives would be like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's like Google tell us whether stuff is fake news or not. So they launched this. They even admitted they had a spokeswoman talk to, I think this website was the Federalist Papers Project, I think is what they call it, and this unnamed spokeswoman admitted they just launched it at the end of last year, and they've already shut it down.
Well, it could be that they didn't find out the facts that they wanted, and just had to say, "Wow, we're not getting the results that we were hoping to. The facts weren't coming back the way we wanted them to show."
Well, I think they were, maybe had honest intentions, but the where they outsourced the information from didn't really, they were using like Snopes, the Washington Post, and PolitiFact. Well, those are all liberal websites, so you're not going to get an honest assessment of a conservative website or a news story on a conservative website if you're using those three sources to fact check it.
Well, it all depends on what you're wanting to get.
Well,
if you're wanting.
And maybe they did. Maybe they just got shamed into shutting it down. But they were calling it reviewed claims. Google's reviewed claims feature was actually smearing conservative websites with highly biased and sometimes outright inaccurate results. The Daily Caller website is the one that actually beat them down about it. They proved that the internet giant, or they proved that the function was unreliable and confirmed it would be indefinitely suspended.
I find it hard to believe that a liberal organization would go out of their way to smear conservative causes and websites.
You've never heard of CNN, apparently.
Unfortunately, I have, yes. Some have called it the Clinton News Network. It's more appropriate to call it the crap news network, I think.
Well, now that the Clintons are essentially no more.
For now.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably rear their ugly heads again, but it's kind of nice to not have to hear about them on a daily basis, isn't
refreshing. Absolutely refreshing.
It's so nice.
It really honestly is.
So yeah, apparently there was some specific story that, they used this reviewed claims feature, and it was attributed to the Daily Caller, but when they went back and looked at the original story, it says that the information submitted to Google and the Daily Caller was not mentioned at all, even in links. So where they got the Daily Caller on that was a mystery to them.
Yeah, somebody said a long time ago that if you want to do something, if you want to build something or revise something or change the direction of a stream, you can always get some government regulation or some organization to write you the environmental survey or report that you need to do it.
Oh,
no matter
yeah.
how bad it might be. So if an organization like this says, well, we're going to do a fact check, we're going to do fact check, and we have all these reams of data that prove that we're right, people say, I guess so. They've got all those reams of data.
Google.
It's Google. They must be telling us the truth.
Yeah.
It sounds fair. It sounds legitimate. Okay.
This would be a good time for David to call in, but I can tell his story for him because I've heard it like 10 times. He started out in expert witness work doing aviation. He was an aviation expert, and they went into some court case, and I don't remember if he was for the defense or for the complainant, but he went in and testified, and the other side afterwards said, Oh gosh, as soon as you started talking, I knew we lost. And he said, "Oh, if you'd paid me more, I could have won the case for you."
I've heard him say that. You should have hired me. We could have gone the other way.
Right. I mean, the facts are the facts, but you spin it to benefit, whatever you want to benefit, as you say.
Sure. And if you come in sounding good, and you've got the backing of, if you've got money behind you, you can do it.
Well, I think, the problem too is with a name like Google. I mean, Google has this reputation, and I'm surprised they would risk their reputation, honestly, to do that. To use such biased websites as their source for their fact checking. If I had a good I do have a good reputation. I wouldn't risk my reputation. I wouldn't risk my good name for a half-assed shoddy product like that.
Absolutely, but it could go back to what you said a minute ago. They might have started with the best of intentions and got into it and thought, this isn't going to pan out, and let's get out of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but it sounds like they were directly challenged by Daily Caller, and they were kind of like, okay. They were kind of embarrassed into backing down, not so much as like, oh, this is a business decision, we're not going to do this anymore.
So speaking of David, I think he's going to join us here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Actually, I think you tell the story better than I do.
My middle name is Succinct.
I just want to know, do I still have a job when I get home?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of liking this seat here. This fits me quite nicely. I'm feeling kind of nice here.
There's just one little problem. It's his house.
Rats. Well, now with all my surveillance, I know where your house is.
At least John isn't like Ed Ronkowski. He's not got my bottle of $300 scotch sitting in front of him.
Oh no, it's right down here. It's empty though. Don't worry.
Yeah, we didn't tell John where the good stuff was.
Right.
That's all. I just wanted to grief.
He really only asked where the bathroom was, so that's good.
So Dave, tell us, how are things at SHOT Show? Or you haven't been in yet, or tell us?
No, I've just been in the hotel. It doesn't. Tomorrow is range day, and we'll go out and do interviews on the range, and then Tuesday through Thursday I'll be in the studio at SHOT Show. So no, I haven't been there yet. Okay.
Yeah, we were saying how it's quite a tough assignment for you to be out at the biggest gun/outdoor show in the whole world and having fun with all the vendors and all the product. That's a lot of work.
In Nevada.
In Vegas, yeah, right.
Well, on the flight here, the guy who was in the seat next to me was from Ireland, and he has a contract. He sells firearms and supplies to the Irish Army. And if you think we have problems here in the U.S., basically you can't own a gun in Ireland.
Right. Well, unless you're an international arms dealer.
Yeah, unless you're in the IRA.
Right.
So,
anyway, have a good show. Didn't mean to interrupt. Wanted to say hi.
No, it's okay. Do you know what's going to be going on at range day tomorrow? Any exciting things you're looking forward to?
I've got some interesting people that I'm going to be interviewing. So people should stay tuned this week, Tuesday through Thursday, and go to SHOT Show News. We've got a whole bunch of interesting people that we're going to interview.
Okay, cool.
That's all. Bye.
John's writing it down. Okay, bye. Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah, have fun, Dave.
So this story I love. When I came across this one, I mean, almost the whole thing is highlighted. I would love to just read this to everybody verbatim. I don't think my voice would hold out, though. But the CNN, as we were just talking about, the crappy news network, they found 5 former Democrat voters from Youngstown, Ohio, who had switched parties and voted for Donald Trump in the last election. And they were from various stages of life, various socioeconomic groups, but they had 2 characteristics in common, which was that they were from Youngstown, Ohio, which has long struggled with a shrinking economy and population, and they had all crossed over and voted for Trump. And I think this is probably much like the CBS story where they were trying to CBS had the three families or three different people, different situations, and they were trying to prove how this new tax reform wasn't gonna be beneficial for them, and it totally backfired.
When they ran the numbers, they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is better than we thought."
Gosh darn it, live TV. It sounds like CNN kind of made the same mistake that. When asked to assess the president's job performance as he nears completion of his first year, there was no mention of buyer's remorse. They all said that things like fantastic, phenomenal. This woman named Anna said, better than I ever would have dreamt. This guy named, or is it a guy? A guy named Anderson praised Trump for staying on task. Green said, industries are booming everywhere I've seen. A number of the panelists expressed support for Trump's tough immigration policy, and all five said they still want to see the border wall. They still want to see a wall built on the southern border.
One of the respondents said a student, she supported Trump's campaign rhetoric promising to give the power back to the American people. It's more than not having buyer's remorse. These people actually said they will vote for him again.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's like doubling down rather than backing off. This one lady says that when she met him at a campaign rally, he was just the nicest person. And yeah, this guy, Gene DeFabio, he said he no longer cringes when reading Trump's tweets and has begun to appreciate the direct, often controversial language the president uses on social media. If all he had to rely on was what people say about him, oh my God, I might not like the guy, but I love the guy. I love the job he's doing.
We did not want status quo, and we definitely didn't get status quo. We got a fighter, a person who'll speak his mind, and speaks vehemently about America being first, taking care of our interests, our people.
And we're exceptional.
And we are exceptional.
That, how many, George W. probably would say that America was exceptional, but
Ronald
Obama,
Reagan?
Never.
No.
Never. So, okay, well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about these true Trump voters.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
If you or your children like to shoot pistols and rifles and live in the Kankakee area, don't forget the ISRA range has an air pistol and air rifle league on Wednesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. For further information, contact Mike James at mikej@isra.org. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, February 3rd and 4th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida and Arizona. Sunday, February 11th, NRA Range Safety Officer, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, February 17th and 18th, NRA Pistol Instructor, taught by David. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register. I have nothing.
Maybe your battery went out.
I don't think these have batteries.
Try dial.
I have static. Sorry, everybody, I have no headphones.
Well, if you wanted to go back to the CNN poll on how Donald Trump was doing, there are quite a few of them. Gretchen read most of them. They're all riveting. One of them, industries are booming everywhere I've seen, said one of the people. One of the people commented, the policy he supports are taking some time to translate into positive local results, but are doing great. Nicest person, absolutely. The proof is in the way presidential politics impacts his own community. They see things locally. If you expand your business in the inner city, so then my community will benefit from the tax cut. And the last one, DeFabio, one of the people there, Gino DeFabio, the machine shop worker, his assessment led to a general agreement among the panelists that the news media, by and large, treats President Trump unfairly. Wow, there's some riveting news.
You know, I think that it's great fun anytime CNN gets beat down. So, you know, I'm on board with that.
100%.
But, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I just take so much enjoyment from watching these liberal media people just be so confused by Trump and the people who support him. And I printed out this article. This is actually a transcript from Meet the Press, and it's back from September. But when I don't watch Meet the Press on a regular basis, but occasionally it comes on after the morning news, and so sometimes it's on when I'm getting ready for church. And Chuck Todd, especially when he gets flustered, it's really quite entertaining. And he did this segment about true Trump voters. And then I've heard him revisit, he uses this phrase, this label, regularly now. And the segment that he was talking about, when the first time he came out with the true Trump voters, he said there's increasing evidence we're no longer talking about two parties when it comes to the way these issues break down. And what he said is when you look at, or when they've polled people about different issues, and they differentiate true Trump voters, is what he calls them, they don't answer like traditional Republicans. And this was quite a revelation to him. And I think it is very interesting. He said they asked people about immigration. Does it add or strengthen to the United States, or does it detract and weaken? 16% of Democrats said that it detracts and weakens. 43% of Republicans said that. But 55% of true Trump voters said it detracts and weakens. So that's a significantly higher number than the traditional Republicans. And then gay marriage. This is a good one. 77% of Democrats are in favor of it, 42% of Republicans, but only 31% of true Trump voters are in favor of gay marriage.
I think that there is a large gap between the Trump voters, the Trump supporters, and the Republicans, because conservatives like us are so disappointed by the behavior of the Republicans.
Yeah.
They're not voting the way we wanted them to vote. We wanted to repeal Obamacare.
Right.
We want the wall. We want immigration reform. And it isn't just immigration, it's illegal immigration reform that we
Absolutely.
want. If people are here legally and are being productive and wanting to be in the United States and hailing the United States as the great society of capitalism that we are, and freedom.
Right.
People are wanting to get away from oppression to come to America because it's free.
Right.
We live with the highest standard in the world. Need we go back to the Venezuelan currency issue?
Exactly.
Where a barrel full of money, the thieves won't even pick it up off the street because it's that worthless.
It's worthless.
Right.
But
and Trump is doing, the bottom line is Trump is doing what he promised he would do. He's fulfilling his obligations, his promises as a candidate, and making us happy. And yet the news media still says, oh, well, you know, there's still evidence of collusion. What evidence of collusion?
Yeah, I think, but this, you know, like I said, I find it very entertaining when when these liberal talking heads get visibly flustered. I definitely don't want to miss this story, though. This is absolutely one of my favorite stories. I never thought that I would be fangirling over a Secretary of the Interior, but I have the hugest crush on Ryan Zinke.
Any man who rides into office his first day of work on a horse, great guy.
Yes, I 100% agree. It was about a year ago that the Illinois Shooter had that on the front cover of Ryan Zinke, first day of work, surveying his empire on a horse.
On his horse, right, right.
I'm like, I love this man. I love this man. So Friday night at around midnight, the Congress was not able to pass a continuing resolution. I think that's what they were. I think it was a continuing resolution they were trying to do. They were trying to pass a spending bill.
Some kind of a stopgap measure.
Yeah, they were trying to pass a spending bill, and they were not able to do that because the Democrats, you know, dug in their heels like the jackasses that they are, and they basically essentially voted to shut the government down, which is non-essential functions.
Yay.
And when this happened with Obama in 2013, he said, okay, fine, we're going to shut down all the national parks, all the national monuments. And Ryan Zinke said, no, we're keeping them open. He said, we're not putting up barricades. Absolutely not. We're passing out our brochures until we run out of brochures. I will be out here every day.
on the job, helping out his country, doing his job, and making sure that the citizens of the United States of America can go into the places where they have every right to be.
Yeah. In the first hours of the government shutdown, Secretary Zinke was making plans for how to keep America's public parks open. In the early hours of Saturday morning, Zinke met with public affairs and maintenance staff to run through a plan to keep memorials on the National Mall open. He then spoke with garbage men who will be picking up trash on the mall one last time before the city of D.C. takes over for them. And then he got in his car and went to the World War II Memorial to greet visitors and hand out maps and help with directions.
Utterly fabulous. Utterly fabulous. I mentioned to you earlier that in 2013, when Obama was the president, we were on vacation on the East Coast and were prohibited from going into the Acadia National Park, which we were very excited about, and couldn't do it because the government had shut down and we weren't allowed to even walk into the park without... They said that they couldn't tell us that we couldn't go in, but we might get a ticket and we would be escorted out in a national park. And we didn't expect any services. We just wanted to go in.
Of course not.
Just wanted to go in and couldn't.
Yeah. He said the visitor experience will be diminished, but to the degree possible, we will keep our public lands open. They should not be used as a political weapon. He said public parks, monuments, and battlefields belong to the people and not the government, and noted that people will see a significant difference between the Trump administration and Obama's in the way public lands are managed during a shutdown.
Isn't that kind of an oxymoron, closing down public lands?
Yeah.
Kinda.
I think that's the definition of an oxymoron.
Yeah. Public lands will be closed, but not with Ryan Zinke.
No.
He's on the job while the government is shut down, making sure that the public places are open. Fabulous guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It should not be used as a political weapon. I love this guy.
Yeah.
So the other good thing that happened this weekend is that, so the original Women's March is actually the March for Life. The march that happened yesterday is actually a poor cousin to to the original Women's March.
Kind of the wannabe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. So the March for Life happened. There was one in Chicago, I think last weekend, actually last Sunday, and then Friday, there was one in Washington, D.C. And I think they always have it on a specific day, so whatever day of the week it falls on is the day that they do it.
It still comes off, right.
I think it's the day that Roe v. Wade
It's the
passed.
anniversary of Roe v. Wade.
So they had that. It looked like there was a lot of people there, and President Trump addressed them live via satellite.
Isn't that beautiful?
From the Rose Garden.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and he says every child is a precious gift from God.
Isn't that amazing that a president would say that?
It shouldn't be, but it is.
I know, but to say that life matters.
Yeah.
And that life is a gift from God.
Yeah. And the other thing that happened, I think yesterday, apparently Congress is still working over the weekend, and the House voted to pass the Babies Born Alive Protection Act, that if a child survives an abortion, a botched abortion, that they have to be given medical care and cared for. Now, again,
this whole concept is utterly reprehensible. To think that they tried to kill the baby, tried to kill a living child, screwed it up, and then when the baby is outside the mother's womb, they let it die.
They just let it die.
That is utterly reprehensible.
It makes my stomach turn every time I think about it.
It
To be
really
honest
does.
with you,
It really does.
there was I never heard of this issue until there's a nurse named Jill Stanek, and she works with these causes now, and she said that happened. She was at work, and there was a baby who survived an abortion, and they literally put it in like a broom closet, and you could hear it crying, and they forbade her to give it medical care, and that was how she got involved with this issue. But yeah, so as we were discussing before the show, unfortunately, even though we have a pro-life president, the House of Representatives, it's relatively easy for them to pass this. Getting it through the Senate, just like concealed carry reciprocity, is going to be very difficult.
Right.
So I don't know that it will actually happen, but it's such a no-brainer, even if you're a Democrat. It's such a no-brainer.
It's life and death at its most innocent stage. It's reprehensible, and I'll stand by that 100%. I don't think that that's going out on a limb. But if it starts to move, if it gets some traction, hopefully people will go for it. The legislators.
I hope that the pro-life Democrats step up and work on their friends and get their friends to vote for it.
This is so not fringy, though. This is
It's
so
not.
beyond the realm of abortion in its early, which I think is reprehensible. I'm pro-life 100%. I'm not for abortion.
Right.
But to say that the baby was actually born alive,
right,
and then was put to or allowed to die.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
The
crazy.
demoralization of America, of the world. It's unfortunate.
We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch tonight, and we'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and announcer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the ISRA, Yellow